Hey everybody who's watching this video, um, welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching this. Um, Tonight I'm going to talk about the side effects of chemotherapy and talk about after you get off, after you're done with all the chemotherapy and the IV chemotherapy, the pills, and everything else. So I'll talk about different things about it and what to expect when you, if you're have a new diagnosis, or if you are afraid that you will get a diagnosis of cancer, what to expect. What you could, what you could expect, but what are the possibilities of what's going to happen to you when you start taking chemotherapy. To tell you a little bit about my story, this last October, I got a phone call from the VA. Anyway, I was in the Navy for almost 8 years, and so I have been going to the VA hospital in Fargo, North Dakota, and so anyway, I've been going to there whenever I need, almost every time I need some medical issue I've got. If I'm here, most of the time I go there. There's been a few times I haven't, because I can't get my PET scan at the VA hospital in Fargo. I have to go to Sanford on Broadway to do that. In fact, here's my notice saying that Monday I'm gonna get it's my last PET scan. If you've seen some of my other videos, you already know that. But anyway, where was I? Some of the, I got the phone call saying that I had tested positive for lymphoma cancer. That I had tested positive. Okay. That was Monday. Tuesday, the next day, I met with a cancer doctor at the VA, Dr. Chamos, who's retiring this month. Yesterday or today, literally. Yesterday or today is his last day as a cancer doctor there. They've got his replacement, the person to take over his job. And I've met her, actually. And she seems like a nice person. So I don't know anything about her, just that she's the person taking over for him. And I met her when I was at the VA getting my chemotherapy. And that's where I do that, where I get the IV, is at the VA. Well, I used to. I'm done with that now. The last day, it was a month ago, the last day of April was my last chemotherapy there. But anyway, the day after I found out that I had cancer, I met with him. I was on a conference call with, my dad was there with me, and my youngest brother was, Nick's younger brother was there on the phone, listening in on what was going on. Um, and I had a bone marrow biopsy, and I also was admitted to the hospital. So anyway, that was the next day after I found out. The next day after that, that would be Wednesday, I had my first chemotherapy treatment. And the next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, I had my second and third chemotherapy treatments. And then the next week, during the next week, I had my fourth and final chemotherapy treatment, IV, of my first round of chemo. Yeah. So anyway, my cancer is Burkitt's, I can't, I don't know how you say that, but anyway, that's the kind of cancer I had, which is extremely aggressive, which is grows very fast. And if you don't get on top of it very fast, that's it. You could be gone within a very short period of time. So that's why they had to get on it right away. And so anyway, I finish up that my first round of chemotherapy, and then Lisa, the nurse practitioner, she came in and said that she had good news and bad news. She was actually my cancer physician at the time. So anyway, she said we were taking off all chemotherapy. This is right before Thanksgiving. And my family, with the exception of my oldest brother and a few of his family members, we were all going to meet at a kind of big mansion in Minnesota. And we were going to have a great time getting together for Thanksgiving. What's better than that? So anyway, she said the good news is we're taking off all chemotherapy. And so the thought in my head was, great. I will be with my family, no chemotherapy. I'll be doing awesome when I'm there. But then she said the bad news is the reason why we're taking off all chemotherapy is because you have a blood bacteria. And I've looked at a lot of the stories that a lot of people have talked about how they got cancer, when they found out their treatment, what kind of treatment they have, and everything. And not one person whose story I've seen, whose video I've seen on YouTube, has ever said that they had a blood bacteria. Not one. I've had people write to me. I asked that question on my lymphoma cancer group on Facebook, and I've had some people respond to that, but I've never seen any videos of people talking about their lymphoma, their blood bacteria. I mean, like I said in the video I made about that, that's nothing you want to mess around with. And that is one of the side effects you can get from chemotherapy, because chemotherapy is going to knock your immune system down so far. If you're not in good health now, oh boy, this could be a rough ride. But if you are pretty healthy, like I was like I was before I found out I had cancer. I mean, it knocked my immune system down a ways, but yet I was still fairly healthy. And when it comes to talking about the side effects, I've had next to nothing happen to me. There's one day in which I had a lot of pain. That's been it. That has been it. That has been all the pain I've had with my chemotherapy. That's been all of it. And that was one day, and that was, well, it was a lot of pain, and they gave me morphine, and that did nothing for me. But other than that, after that, nothing. That's the only time I've had a lot of pain. Okay. And side effect number two, big side effect number two of chemotherapy is nausea, being sick. And the only time, I think one of the only times I've ever had just a little bit of nausea was the first day I had chemotherapy. And I didn't have, I had completely gotten, I don't think I had completely gotten all of the anti-nausea medication, yet when I had that. And that's been, I think there might have been one other time I might have had a little bit of nausea, but that's been it. Nothing. I mean, zero, nada, other than that, other than 2 days of nausea. I've got pictures of me eating when we got in chemotherapy. I mean, literally eating. I've got pictures of me with showing the IV going into my arm with the chemotherapy, and here I am eating at the same time. So yeah, it's just been amazing. It has just been absolutely amazing. Some people have no side effects whatsoever. Okay. However, I do have to report that I have had one side effect from my chemotherapy that isn't exactly the best. It's also the third big side effect from chemotherapy, and that is losing your hair. Yeah, so anyway, I joined after my first round of chemotherapy, I realized I was fighting a losing battle, and I had them shave it all. I had one of the nurses get it some clippers and cut it off. Just had a goatee. Let's see. I must have, well, you can't really, yeah, you really can't see it there, but I am letting it grow now. But anyway, I have usually before I had cancer, I have a goatee, a mustache, a goatee, and hair that's a lot longer than this. But I don't know, kind of sucks not having a lot of hair, but that's the way it goes. I don't want to wear a wig because that would look stupid. Or wear a wrap. I usually have a ball cap almost all the time. You'll see me wearing a ball cap quite a bit. I wore a ball cap almost all the time before I had found out that I had cancer, when I had all my hair. So wearing a ball cap now is nothing new for me. For some people, They get a wig, they get, a headscarf, they get stuff to try to hide the fact that they're going through chemo and that they've got cancer. But I don't know. I guess on the side you can tell that I don't have much hair. You can tell even with a ball cap on, I don't have much hair. So you can tell that, either I like not having much hair, or I'm going through chemo and lost a lot of it. Let's see what else. There are some other small, minor side effects of the chemotherapy that some people have. I've had some small, minor things happen. Going to the bathroom several times. I know some people don't like to talk about, but that could be one of the side effects to you going through chemotherapy. You might have to go to the bathroom several times a day. And it's more of an inconvenience than anything. But then after you're done with all the chemotherapy, all the IV, all the pill form, everything, then it'll come back to, having a regular, having your bowel movements will be back to normal, back to the way it was for you before you had found out you had cancer, and before you started the chemotherapy. So yeah, that's more of the further the more days that pass between, the more time that passes from the time I had my last chemotherapy, the more a lot of the side effects are, minor side effects and major side effects are going to dissipate, are going to be less. And so it might take, it could take a month or two before I start getting a lot of hair back. But that's, hey, that's life, I can't get too upset, What's more important, losing my hair and having it not grow back right away, or to not be around, to be able to survive, which is more important. Not having some hair and surviving, or not having some hair and not surviving. But yeah, so anyway, that's just one of the things that you'll probably have to deal with. Well, you might have to deal with, is losing your hair. It's something you got to deal with. Your life is different. Your life is, it's from the day you found out you had cancer. There's a before and after you found out, because your life is never going to be the same again. And that's exactly the way it is when you have a stroke. your life before you had the stroke, your life after you had a stroke. And so 3 years ago, last month, yours truly had a stroke. And so I didn't even know about it until a week after I had it. Okay? I mean, it's easy to say, how could you not know that you didn't have a stroke? I didn't have any symptoms other than not being able to walk right. That's the only symptom I had. I had to walk along the wall and be able to, along my wall to be able to get to where I was going. That's it. That's the only symptom I had. Okay? And you look up a lot of the symptoms for a stroke nowadays, your walking is not one of them. Okay? They talk about half of your face drooping, half of your body drooping, but anyway, yeah, and you're just having one side being almost completely helpless, kind of like sitting there, like sitting in a chair, and all of a sudden you're like this and going, those are some signs of having a stroke. But walking, not being able to walk right, it's not one of them, folks. So that's why I didn't know. That's why I didn't know until a week after I had it that I had a stroke. Anyway, let's get off the path here. Let's get sidetracked. I shouldn't. Let's see, what are some other side effects of chemotherapy that they might have? After you're completely done with all the chemotherapy, and after a while, your hair, if you lose your hair and when it grows back, it might be completely different than the way it was before you had the chemotherapy, because the chemotherapy changes your DNA. I'm not kidding, it does. And so anyway, if you have straight hair, it might change it to curly. I don't know if it actually changes the color of your hair or not. I've never heard of somebody doing that, but I've heard a lot of people talking about their hair was one way before they had cancer and before they had chemotherapy, and then after it was different. But then I've heard other, the people I've talked to about that, it went back to the way it was before. It went back. So I don't know. I don't know if I haven't talked to anybody whose hair is like that permanently. Okay. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, chemotherapy changes your DNA, and so it's just the way it is. I mean, if you liked it one way, and after your hair grows back, and it's different, that's just par for the course. You might not like it. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way it goes when you're dealing with cancer, and the effects of it after you're done with all the chemotherapy and stuff. But anyway, let's see. you know, one of the best pieces of advice I would give somebody who's about to go through cancer, who's got cancer and going through chemotherapy, is be ready for the unexpected. Be ready to accept things you never thought were going to happen. Okay? And to be able to accept them, and also to get through it. You know, to put your faith and trust in God to get you through it. Because you could easily, your cancer doctor, or the person who's taking care of you, who's your physician, your cancer physician, they could walk in and say, you've got a blood bacteria. Okay. And to have that treated, to go back to what happened when I found out, I thought I could take care of it on my own. I thought I could spend Thanksgiving with my family. I could, get what I needed to do that, to hook up the medication and to get the medication I needed to treat my blood bacteria. I can do this on my own. Hey, I can do this. But everybody was like, no. Because if I had messed that up, if I had screwed that up, that would have been it. I could have died easily, very easily from that. And so it came down to me deciding to take that chance anyway, and to be with my family on Thanksgiving, the last half of the week of Thanksgiving, take the chance that I could take care of it myself, and to leave the hospital, or to stay in the hospital, have them have them treat me for my blood bacteria, even though that meant staying in the hospital on Thanksgiving Day. I had one or the other. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? If I screw this up, I won't be around to celebrate Thanksgiving next year with my family. I won't be here. I won't be alive to do that. If I screw this up, there's there might be no way I'd be around. A blood bacteria is deadly serious. If this is the first time you watched any of my videos, I am not kidding. It is that serious. And you should take having a blood bacteria, and even the possibility of having a blood bacteria. If they tell you might have a blood bacteria, you do whatever they tell you have to do to get it taken care of. Because if you screwed up, you're not going to be around next year. You're not, yeah, your cancer is going to be nothing compared to having your blood bacteria kill you within days, or hours even of having it. I mean yeah, blood bacteria. A blood bacteria can kill you within hours or even days of getting it. That's how serious it is. That's how deadly they can be. Okay. So you want to get it taken care of, whatever they say, go, okay, I'll do it, whatever. Even if it's staying in the hospital on Thanksgiving, literally on Thanksgiving Day to get it taken care of. Don't even think about leaving the hospital. Don't even think about it. Just go, okay, I'll stay here. I won't go anywhere. I'll be here, But yeah, I didn't even, so I'm sure glad I did that. I'm sure glad I didn't leave. I'm sure glad I didn't spend that time with my family, but because that would have been the biggest mistake of my life. That could have been the last big mistake of my life too. I'm still alive. I survived that. I survived my lymphoma. I survived my stroke 3 years ago. So I can celebrate Thanksgiving with my family November of this year, actually. Because I did that. I demanded that I leave. I would have done that over the objections of my doctors and everybody else at the VA. But, hey, I'm an adult. I can do what I want to do. If I wanted to leave, they would have said, well, okay, we don't want you to, but, but anyway, let's see, what else do I have to say about side effects? Side effects can be major, like having a lot of nausea, or a lot of pain, or losing your hair, and it could be something minor, but some more advice is do as much as you can when it comes to exercising. When you're going through chemo, don't let's see, get some exercise. You want to be in fairly good shape before, you want to be at least in fairly good physical condition before you start the chemo, because it is going to knock your immune system for a loop. It is going to knock it way down quite a ways. And so if you're in fairly good shape, you can still, even after you started the chemo and after you started the fighting your cancer, if you're in fairly good shape, you can still be healthy enough to be able to fight off the infections and some things that people sometimes get when they're ends up killing people. You know, when they've had their immune system compromised, like you do when you go through chemotherapy. So you do want to be fairly healthy. You don't want to be, you want to be in fairly good shape. You don't want to exercise too much. You want to be able to exercise enough so that you don't have to be able to run a marathon or a triathlon or to be a super athlete. You don't have to be in that good a shape, okay? But you can't be like a complete and total couch potato either. Somebody who their idea of exercise is walking to the refrigerator to get a pop or a beer and to get some chips while they're watching TV. If that's your idea of exercise, then you are in some deep trouble when you go through chemotherapy and have cancer. If that's your idea of exercise, you're in trouble because you need to change. You need to exercise a lot more than that. You got to be in a lot better shape than that to be able to have your immune system compromised like it will be when you go through the chemotherapy, to be able to survive and not contract every little bug that comes along, every little infection that comes along, every little infection that, any little infection that comes along could kill you because of that. It's gonna throw your immune system for a loop when you go through chemo. It will do that. That will happen. And if you're not in fairly decent shape, that could be it. You might not survive. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying, you gotta get together with someone and say, hey, look, I'm not in that good a shape, and with your doctor or the person that to be able to exercise at your hospital, to walk around the floor you're on, you've got to do something to get in better physical shape than you are now. Because if you're a complete and total couch potato, oh boy, you're in trouble. You are in trouble now. Okay? I mean, if you're huge, you got to talk to your nurses. You got to talk to the people that who prepare the food for you, the food service, and you got to go, I got to lose weight now. If you're huge, if you're way overweight, you got to do that. You've got to lose weight, and you've got to get in better shape. Because if you don't, you might not survive. You might not survive cancer. The cancer is not going to kill you. It's the other stuff that you get because your immune system is compromised. That could very well happen. That could very well happen. So, you just, you've got to bring that up. You've got to bring that up with your doctor. You've got to bring it up with your nurses. You've got to bring it up with other people at the hospital you're at. You got to say, hey, look, you got to bring it up with the nurses that give you the chemotherapy that are in the room, the infusion room, that they who who hook the IV into your arm to give you the chemotherapy. You got to talk to them. Let them know, hey, this is what's going on. I'm not in very good shape. I don't exercise very much. Yeah, so you got to come up with a plan on how you're going to improve your physical condition to be able to deal with the chemotherapy. Be able to have it knock your immune system for a loop and be able to survive that. Be able to keep yourself from getting every little bug or bacteria that comes along. You got to do that to be able to survive all of that. It might not be the cancer that kills you. It might be some other little bug or bacteria that comes along and does that. Like when I had the blood bacteria. That easily could have killed me if one, they hadn't caught it in time, and two, if I hadn't stayed at the hospital and done whatever they wanted me to do to get it taken care of. It's like your life is in their hands. They tell you have to get an IV every 4 hours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 2 weeks. You do it. You go, okay, whatever you say, I will do it. I will do it. And I had to say that. I had to say, whatever you want me to do, go ahead, let's do it. If you think you can take care of a blood bacteria on your own, no. You're playing Russian roulette with your life here, folks. If you do that, if you try some alternative therapy that to be able to deal with the blood bacteria, yeah, you might be losing. It's like, don't even take the chance of thinking about doing that, of trying some alternative therapy. No matter what they want you to do it. Let's see. Oh boy, I've talked a lot about other things other than side effects of chemo. Let's see. Well, this is another thing you need to do. Drink a lot of water. Because and if you drink a lot of alcohol, that's it. You go cold turkey right now. You go cold turkey right now when it comes to drinking. You quit smoking now. You quit, let's see, what other things? Eating a lot of junk food. When it comes to any of these three things, if you do a lot of that before you found out you had cancer, you quit them right now. I mean, that is it. Just no more. Because that'll help you. That'll help you survive. I mean, quitting those things will help you survive getting through this. Yeah, because smoking and drinking could be the reason if a lot of people, if that's something you do a lot of, smoking or drinking or both, that could be the reason why you have cancer in the first place. Because a lot of people that smoke get cancer. A lot of people that drink a lot end up getting cancer. And if you do both, if you do both, that very easily could be the cause of you getting cancer. Of somebody getting cancer. I didn't do either one of them. I didn't eat a lot of junk food. I've eaten some, but why I got cancer, I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. So anyway, it might be until your PET scans come back and your doctors say they can't find any cancer in you at all, okay? Until that happens, until you're done completely with all the chemotherapy, you aren't taking any chemotherapy, the pills, the IV, all the stuff to help boost your immune system, until that happens, you could be in for a rough ride. Some people have a extremely rough time going through chemo. But yet, have a positive attitude every day. From the day you found out that when they called and said that, when you got the news that said you have cancer, when they called you and told you that you have the big C word, have a positive attitude. Whatever they tell you gotta do it. Okay? Whatever they tell you that you have to do, go, okay, no problem, I'll do this. Unless you know for a fact that what they're telling you is wrong. Okay? Unless they tell you something that you know for a fact is wrong, then do whatever they tell you to do. Some people, every time someone has cancer, has a bout with cancer, is different from another bout with cancer. Every person that has cancer is different from another person that has cancer. They're all different. Okay? Like a snowflake or like having a stroke. They're all different. They're never the same. Never the same. So anyway, and don't expect something's gonna happen. Don't plan on something happening, because it might not. It might not. I guess I should take my own advice, because my last PET scan is this coming Monday, the 3rd of June. Today being the last day of May. in a few days I'll have my last PET scan. Oh, oh, I almost want to sneeze, but I don't, you know. I almost sneeze, but I don't want to while I'm on cam. You know, I guess I shouldn't. I expect after my 4th round of chemo, I've had 2 more since then, but they didn't find any cancer. They didn't find any cancer in me anywhere. Okay. And so anyway, they didn't find any, and I'm expecting after my last PET scan that they won't find any. But yeah, and actually I shouldn't have that attitude at all either. I should not have that attitude. Because maybe they will. Maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe they'll find a lot of cancer. But anyway. When you are going through when you've got cancer and you're going through chemotherapy, you have to expect the unexpected. You have to be ready to be able to deal with anything that they walk in the morning and tell you someday. You know, if you're in the hospital someday, that, you know, they could tell you anything, and you need to be ready to deal with it, you know, in a positive way. You know, I'm talking about being able to respond in a good way and not a bad one. You know, whatever they tell you, to not get angry, to not get upset. Well, maybe you can do a little of that, but then, you know, because it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you to get upset and angry and frustrated with whatever your doctors, with whatever the people who are trying to help you, tell you. Okay? A bad attitude towards that does not help at all. Having a good attitude can take you a long ways. Okay? A long ways. When I found out that I had cancer, they called me up and told me that I tested positive lymphoma cancer. You know, I mean, my attitude was like, okay, God, how are we going to get through this together? How are we going to get through this and survive together? You know, if it had been God's will that I didn't survive, then I would have said, well, okay, I guess I'm not going to make it. But that's how where my attitude was when I found out that I had cancer. I was like, okay, how are we going to do that, get through this? Whatever they said in the, they'd walk into my room when I was still there. Whatever they said, okay, no problem. No problem. I do not have any problem with anything they said to me. You know? And I treated the nurses And the doctors, I even treated the guy who went to my garbage cans the way I would want to be treated if I was in his shoes. If my job was to take the trash bags out of people's rooms and collect trash, how would I want to be treated? That's how I treated him. I treated him with respect. I treated everybody with respect. When I went from the third floor down to the community living center at the hospital in Fargo, the VA hospital in Fargo, I mean, nurses on the third floor said, "Yeah, we miss you." that some other people up there, they even missed me not being there anymore when I left. That's what you want to have. You want people to miss you when you leave. I'm at a nursing home, right? I want people to miss me. To say, you know what? And there was a guy who told me yesterday who I said the same table when we were playing bingo. He said, this isn't going to be the same without you here. It's not going to be the same without you here. That's a pretty high compliment, folks. That's a pretty lofty compliment to say to someone. It's not going to be the same without you. And there are some people who have died, and it isn't the same. This place isn't the same without them either. Because of the people they were. I mean, some people are really outgoing, are nice, are just great people to be around. That's the kind of person you want to be when you are a patient at whatever hospital you're at, taking care of your taking care of your cancer. That's the kind of person you want to be. And so, let's see. You want to leave a good impression with people. That certainly isn't going to happen with everybody you meet. Everybody you meet is not going to have a positive impression of you. Some people might even hate you. The reason why for that is because they might be jealous of what you have and they do not have. Maybe you can walk and they're in a wheelchair. Maybe you're in fairly decent shape and they aren't. Maybe your family members come to see you and theirs doesn't. So anyway, you want to you want people to miss you when you're gone. You want to do whatever you can to help other people. And I'll give you an example of that in my own life here at the nursing home. when once a week we get our rooms cleaned, okay, by the people who prepare the meals for us. So anyway, when I leave, there is nothing on the floor, no dirty clothes, no nothing. I mean, well, not, I shouldn't say nothing. My garbage cans are where they were when they put them in here. I don't have any trash sitting on the floor. I don't have any clothes or anything else sitting on the floor that wasn't there before. So, I mean, I just try to make their job easier. I personally try to do that. You know, make their jobs easier. I don't have to do that. I wash my own clothes. Let's see what else. So yeah, I mean, there's some people that their rooms are a complete mess, you know. And when they come in to vacuum, they gotta vacuum around all our stuff, you know, all our junk that's on the floor. And they never have to do that for me. So anyway, that's just one example of how I make other people's job easier. I'll give you another example. You know, we get our meals taken care of too. We've got somebody that's being paid. The person that cleans the rooms is also the person that prepares the meals for us too. And for breakfast, we can order whatever we want. You know, I mean, within reason, for the most part. If we want an omelet, we get an omelet. If we want eggs, we get eggs. If we want pancakes, we get pancakes. If we want toast, we get toast. We get French toast as well too. Yeah, we tell them what we want. You know, they tell, you know, if they tell us what's for dinner and supper, and we tell them if we want all of it or not, and what we want. You know, if it's, you know, several different things, we say, oh, I want this, but I don't want that. You know, they're like, they write it down. They're like, okay, no problem. So anyway, you know, when I'm just 9 o'clock is supposed to be the cutoff time to where they don't, where they're done with that, where they're done with cooking the breakfast for the residents, for us. And if it's after 9 or 9:15, when they should be cleaning, when they're busy cleaning, I mean, I just get some cereal and that's it. Oh, you don't have to worry about my breakfast. I've got it taken care of. You know, I'll either have cereal or oatmeal. And I'll just get some hot water, heat it up, eat that, get me some milk, you know, and that's it. They don't have to worry about making something for me, you know, but they would. If I wanted something, they would make it no matter what time it is, even no matter how much after 9 o'clock it is. It would still do that, you know, but I'm just like, don't worry about it, you know. I'll have having this cereal or oatmeal. So that's another example of how I try to make their jobs easier. Let's see. Maybe it's time to. But anyway, this has been long enough, I think. Smokes. But anyway, if you're still watching this, thank you for watching so long. But anyway, yes, I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. I have been since I was little. If you're wondering what team this was, it is Minnesota Vikings. If you nope, it says Vikings. But yeah, I've been a Minnesota Vikings fan since I was little. Since Joe Cap was a quarterback in the late 1960s. That's how long I've been a fan. You know. So anyway, I've got cups, I've got a mug, a guy whose memorial service we had for last week. Was it? No, this week. Well, he gave it to me because he didn't want it, and he knew I was a huge Vikings fan, so he gave it to me. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Some of my best piece of advice is to put your faith and trust in God to get you through going through this period of time when you've got cancer. It might not be easy. It could be rough. You know, it could be very rough getting through this. But when God is with you, you can get through this. You can get through it. You can make it. If it's God's will for that to happen, it's not God's will, well, that's the way it goes too. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be easy at all. Having cancer and going through but yeah, I mean, it could be rough. It could be, you know, chemotherapy could be easy for you to deal with. Your body, you know, you might have the chemotherapy and it's easy, you know, because your body's because you're in pretty good shape, you know, even somewhat good shape, you know. But if you aren't in very good shape, you got to change that now. You got to change that now. I mean, right this second. You got to come up with a game plan and let the people know, you know, to make changes so you can make the changes so you can survive your cancer. and your chemo, going through the chemotherapy. You know, you've got to be able to do that. If you can't make those changes, you know, to be in fairly decent health, you know, fairly decent shape, if you're not, I'm sorry, there's not much anybody can do for you to help you survive. Because if you're not in good shape, if you're not in, you know, if you're not very healthy, it does not look good for you. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. You know, maybe you don't want to hear that, but yet, you know, everything you go through is worth it. When you get through it, when you survive everything you go through, it is well worth it. Living another day of your life is well worth what you have to go through to do that. Okay? Because when you do that, when you go through chemotherapy and you have cancer, you learn a lot of things you are never going to forget the rest of your life. Okay? And two of them are, you need to enjoy your life while you can. You need to enjoy every day the rest of your life while you can. Because we aren't promised tomorrow. Tomorrow is not a guarantee. I might not be here tomorrow. You know. And you gotta love your family and friends like it could be their last day or your last day. Because it can be. You just have to enjoy your life and love your family and friends. You know, there's a lot of things that, you know, that that are, when it's all said and done, don't make a hill of beans worth of difference at the end of your life as well too. You know, what? But your family and friends and the fun you have in your life, how you treat others, the impact you have on the lives of other people, that does matter. That does make a difference. You know, when you leave somewhere or you die and people miss you, that is what you want. You want people to miss you when you're gone. You want people to wish that you were still here. You know, I mean, I want a lot of people to miss me when I leave. When I leave, I want a lot of people to go, oh man, we miss you. We miss having you here. We want you back. Oh, well, sorry, but, you know, I mean, and some of the things I want to do when I do leave. I want my driver's license back. I want my doctor to give me the approval, the stamp of approval to be able to do that, to go take my driving test again. And if I pass the test, I pass the test and I get my license back. And if I don't, I don't. Then it's like, okay, back to the drawing board. I guess I need more practice or something. Should have studied more for the test. But anyway, was forgot what it is. Yeah, I want my driver's license back. I want to get a car then, and I want to get a job. It's like, okay, not exact. Some things that, few things that aren't exactly easy with everything I've gone through. But yet, it's still possible to do that. They're still possible to do all three of them. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, I want to so anyway, having these stupid notices popping up on my screen when onto my screen that makes that sound, and they pop up, and I need to close them out so they disappear. It's kind of a pain to have to deal with that, but oh well. Anyway, yeah. The best piece of advice for someone who's just starting to go through chemotherapy is to put your trust in God. God will get you through this. God will do, the Bible says, there's a verse that says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. All, A-L-L, all things. Not just a few things, not just a couple things, all things, everything. You can do everything through Christ. And so anyway, that's the advice I want to leave with you. I hope you're still watching this to the end. Yeah, if you didn't, then it's like, well, you missed my awesome advice. Anyway, I am out of here, and I will be going to bed here soon. See you later.